It's very important that we keep this little process running because everybody is busy. First off, welcome and thank you for joining us today. I know that these are really uncertain times, and what we're trying to do is stay on top of all the things and all the information that is coming in that we believe is going to affect you. And obviously one of the biggest things that has been announced in the last couple of days is the JobKeeper wage subsidy program. So what we are doing is we are getting briefed by the DPO at least every week, and we're getting information on a regular basis, or more often than that. As we get official information, we will pass it on to you. I've already seen a whole bunch of things that have been put out by commentators where I'm going, I haven't seen that mentioned officially. And given that we're talking to the Digital Partnership Office at the ATO, who is basically the people who are managing all of this process, I'm pretty confident that what we are being given is actually correct. So I will only be passing on to you things that I know that are correct. I just want to touch briefly on this. There is no rule book for this whole situation, and I see people all over the place who are really working as hard as they possibly can in all sorts of roles. Basically, everyone's doing the best they can under the current circumstances. And I think in general, we're all doing very well. I'm not ever going to be critical of whatever anyone is trying to do because, they're doing the best that they can. But the measures that are being announced, most importantly, are designed to help us collectively operate our businesses and keep the economy going. Because if we keep the economy going while also staying safe and healthy, we will all recover from this in a much better way and in a much faster way. The two critical things are that people having income is absolutely important, and businesses having income is equally just as important. Now, I know there are aspects to these measures that the government has announced which are not perfect, but hey, at least they have done these, and I bet you there is going to be more. So let's get on with what we have to do. Our role, and I'm talking about all of us, our role is to ensure that we play our part and we do everything that is possible to ensure that everyone around us, including ourselves, survives as well as possible. And in order to do that, I encourage you, take advantage of all the assistance that is on offer from governments, both state and federal, but also banks. The banks are offering all sorts of assistance. Make sure that you take advantage of them and encourage your employees to take advantage of all of the things that are available from the banks as well. I encourage you to pay everybody as much as you can when you can. We all need to turn around and survive, and if we do that, the velocity of money through the economy will just be much better, and the whole thing will work a lot better than what it potentially could do. So, enough of that. What do we know? The JobKeeper wage subsidy is a guaranteed payment of $1,500 per fortnight for every employee where the employer qualifies for the subsidy. I'll explain what all of that means in more detail, but the critical point, it is a guaranteed minimum payment of $1,500 per fortnight. The wrinkle is that this will be paid in arrears, so it is a reimbursement to you. It is not money that you get first and then pay out to the employee. So there is that. But at least you know that if you qualify, or if you've registered and qualified, that you will be getting $1,500 per fortnight, which will help you keep your employees in cash income. At the outset, this program has been announced that it will run for 6 months initially. Hopefully we won't need it beyond that, but anything is possible. But we know that it's going to run for that period of time. There is a lot of detail that hasn't been worked out yet. it hasn't been passed into law yet. But as I understand it, the Parliament is being recalled next week, so they have a quorum so they can pass these measures. As all new details come to hand, we will pass that information on to you. So the first thing is, which employers qualify? Basically, you qualify if you have lost 30% of your billings. Now, I know that in much of the published information that has come out so far, and the language that was used when the Prime Minister made this announcement, he was talking about revenue. I'm going to talk about this in terms of billings because it is the language of JobBag and it should be the language that you understand. It is your gross billings. If you have lost 30% of your billings now compared to a similar period up to 12 months ago, then you will likely qualify for the subsidy. Now, there has been some talk I have seen of where you are expecting to lose at least 30% of your billings. I haven't seen that written officially, so I can't state that that is 100% correct. But if you have definitely lost 30% of your billings, if you can demonstrate that you've lost 30% of your billings compared to a similar period 12 months ago or around that time, you will likely qualify for this. We only have one client that I know of anyway, that's got billings greater than $1 billion, or turnover greater than $1 billion. Theirs is a different equation. They have to have lost 50%. I know that they have lost pretty much 100% of their business, so I know that they qualify. It will be payable to all employees who were employed as at the 1st of March, subject to a few qualifications. We'll go into that in a minute. And this starts as at the 30th of March 2020. So even though this hasn't been passed by the Federal Parliament, the provisions, they have stated the provisions are going to apply from this past Monday, the 30th of March. Okay. So first up, how are you going to apply? First thing, you need to register your interest on the ATO website. And just in case you haven't seen it, I will show you exactly how you turn around and do it. You notice here on the ato.gov.au website, there's this big orange banner, and there's a link here that says Visit COVID-19. When you click on that, it will turn around and open that up. There's all sorts of other information which you can read at your leisure, but you'll notice this section here that says, for more information, see JobKeeper payment. You click on that link, and that brings you to the JobKeeper payment page where it says register your interest. You click on register now, and hey presto, you fill in this information. And that's all you have to do to register your interest. You're not applying at this point in time, you're just registering. So it's pretty easy, and I encourage you all to do it. At the time of our briefing yesterday afternoon from DPO, as at lunchtime yesterday, they said that they had more than 190,000 registrations of interest. And I bet you that has gone way beyond that now. So don't worry, you are in very good company. Just register so that you get whatever information comes out. When, in due course, when it's ready, they're going to send out an email to you as the person who is registered on behalf of the business, and it will give you the ability then to apply online. When you go and apply online, log in and apply online, it will pre-fill your application with all of your current single touch payroll information. So all of the employees that have been paid and submitted as part of single touch payroll, and you will just complete the application form and make a declaration that you are qualifying, right? That you are a qualifying business, and away you go. Okay, and it should be as painless as possible. We shall see. Now, I know you're going to have more questions, and we haven't finished this, but I just wanted to reiterate that we've been told by the DPO that they will be giving us weekly briefings. And as I said, we're going to only rely on official information. And we will be asking many questions on your behalf to ensure that we know how to answer your questions. As soon as we have information, we'll be presenting it back to you. They've asked us to pass on to you, please don't call their call centres, because the call centres can't tell you anything more than we are telling you. And possibly we know a little bit more at the moment because they probably haven't had the opportunity to disseminate the information through to the call centre even, because they were briefing us on it yesterday afternoon. Okay, so just stay tuned. You will get more information as and when it is available. So, which employees qualify as or qualify for the subsidy? It applies to full-time, part-time, full-time employees, part-time employees, and casuals that were employed as at the 1st of March. So that's your first key date. Were they employed on that date? If they were, then they're in the qualifying bucket. Casuals, though, must have been employed for the prior 12 months. That's the only wrinkle there. They have stated that employees that were hired subsequent to the 1st of March are not covered by the subsidy. And any employees that were stood down since the 1st of March, so standing down meaning that you haven't, they're still employed by you, but they're just not being paid, they will be covered so long as you are paying them. Okay, so that's critically important. You must be paying them. Employees that were made redundant can be rehired. The only grey area that we've got at the moment is that we don't know what the guidance is in regard to reinstating their employment, what happens to their entitlements, all that sort of jazz. Again, as soon as we know, I'll pass it on to you. Now, so we talked there about which employees qualify, but there's been a lot of conjecture about New Zealanders and other overseas people and all that sort of jazz. This is the best information that we have right now. New Zealand employees qualify. If they've been living here more than 10 years, then they automatically have that or they qualify for that old automatic visa where it's like a special visa. If they've lived here for 20 or 30 years, they're basically a permanent resident and they qualify. But if they've come subsequent to that, if they hold that subclass 444 visa, they qualify. Anyone who's got a permanent visa, anyone who's got certain protected special category visas, anyone who's been living on a special category visa for more than 10 years, all of these people qualify. The only one I cannot tell you unequivocally about at this point in time is the working holiday maker. I have got nothing official in writing about that. As soon as I know about them, I will let you know, because I do know that some of you have employed working holiday makers. So, how does it work? Excuse me, I just need to have a sip. I've tried to make these slides as detailed as possible so that hopefully they're as self-explanatory as possible, but I'll still run through it. You need to continue to pay your employees as normal, your regular pay cycles, whether it be weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. All the normal rules of engagement apply. So PAYG applies as per normal, based on the normal rates of PAYG for their tax file declaration. The only thing that changes is where one of your employees is normally earning less than $1,500 a fortnight, or currently earning less than $1,500 a fortnight. If you have qualified for the subsidy, and they have qualified for the subsidy, then you will need to increase their weekly or fortnightly payment, and I'm just going to talk fortnightly for the time being. You need to increase their fortnightly payment to $1,500 per fortnight, because that is the amount of the subsidy that you are going to be receiving. And if you receive the subsidy, you actually have a legal obligation to pass on that subsidy in full to your employees. I'll give you some specific examples of how this works later in the presentation. A note here about the employee superannuation, so the super guarantee 9.5% contribution. It does not apply to any top-up that you make, but you can choose to pay super on that top-up if you wish. No fear, no foul. But I want to stress that employees to whom this top-up applies can only get the subsidy from one employer. So if you know they work for someone else, they have to choose who they're going to get it from. Now, when does all of this happen? First off, you'll be lodging a return at the end of each month. So once you get to the end of April, you'll be lodging a return for payments made up to the 30th of April. You'll be lodging that online. When you go and lodge that return, it will come up pre-filled with all of your single touch payroll information. Boom, thanks for coming. It should be just a case of, yes, we still meet the criteria. This is who we're paid, bang, done. And then the expectation is within 7 days of you lodging that return, it will then, or whatever the subsidy amount is, will be paid directly into your bank account. But I stress, make sure that your bank account is noted with your account at the ATO, not your tax agent's account, because otherwise the subsidy payment will go to them and then you'll be waiting on your tax agent to forward it to you. Right? And that's not ideal. Okay, so now I'm going to deal with specific examples. And example one is where the employee earns less than $1,500 per fortnight. And for the example, in this instance, I've said, let's just say that their gross salary is $1,120 for the fortnight. So this would be like a part-time person who might be working a couple of days a week or something along those lines. That's what I based this example on. You're going to be in JobBag adding a taxable allowance called the JobKeeper top-up to their payslip or to their employment details for the amount of whatever the top-up needs to be. So in this instance, because they're getting $1,120, you'll be topping it up by $380 per pay. The total taxable amount of their payslip will then become $1,500. And PAYG applies to that whole amount. So the top-up is not tax-free. This is going to become income in the employee's hands, so PAYG rates, normal PAYG rates apply. But as I said earlier, the super guarantee contribution does not apply to the top-up amount unless you wish to make it so. This new JobKeeper top-up is an allowance, and I'm going to be showing you down the track how to do this. It's going to be in our JobBag help pages, so you will be able to find that as soon as we've finalised all of those. It's really easy though, really, really simple to do. Okay, so here is an example of what happens in this circumstance. Here we've got an employee that, as you can see, is just working 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I've chucked in this as being their salary. And as you can see, on the basis of a fortnightly pay cycle, and that they will be getting 32 hours of work in each of those pay cycles, that is what their gross salary or wage is determined to be, $1,120, and they're paying PAYG, and boom, thanks for coming. Okay, so not paying much not paying much PAYG, as you can say, but there you go. So then adding in the JobKeeper subsidy, as I've done here, for their pays from 30th of May. So you'll be creating new employment details for this person. You'll notice that I've gone and created a taxable allowance in here of $380, which brings their taxable salary up to $1,500. They then will be paying PAYG on that, which means that they will take home $1,308 on the basis of this example. So for them, it's great. They get an extra $288 or thereabouts in their fortnightly pay, and that's the intention of it. Okay, it's real easy to set up, and then it will just turn around and kick in every time you generate their pays. Bang, it will turn around and do that. If necessary, you can turn around and adjust things on a payslip by payslip basis, but doing it this way, where you've got a stable payment or a regular fortnightly payment, weekly payment, whatever it may be, this is the best way of doing it. Now, where an employee earns more than $1,500 per fortnight, it's different. Well, in fact, the good thing is if they're earning more than $1,500 per fortnight, you don't have to change anything. You just continue to pay them as normal. You don't have to change the employment details. You don't change their pay slips. You just pay them as normal. And what will happen is that when you lodge your monthly return with the ATO, all their pays will be showing up in that, and you'll get the subsidy back for the equivalent of $1,500 per fortnight that you're eligible to under this program. All the normal things take place in regard to their pay. So if they continue to say, I want to salary sacrifice to super, that can still happen. It has zero impact. Same with the people who are on less than that. If they want to continue salary sacrificing, they can. But if they're going to salary sacrifice, the $1,500 is before their salary sacrifice. It is not after. Okay, I hope that's clear. Okay, so what don't we know yet? In the words of Donald Rumsfeld, we have known knowns, and we have known unknowns, and then we have unknown unknowns. And trust me, there are plenty of unknown unknowns. But this is just a summary of some of the things that we don't know at this point in time and that we will be clarifying as soon as possible. Obviously, the exact date the payments are made, the expectation is that it's going to be within 7 days of you lodging your monthly return, where that just needs to be confirmed. Everything that they have put out has been about this $1,500 per fortnight, and they have not yet provided clarity, because they don't know, they haven't made the decision yet, about what the monthly thing is, because I know a vast majority of people do pay on a monthly basis. So there's many ways that you could work this out. As soon as I know exactly how they're suggesting to do it, again, I'll communicate it to you. We still don't know what the rules are about if you reinstate someone who you made redundant. Can you literally undo that whole redundancy? Or is there some other situation with that? As soon as we know, we'll let you know. I've seen a question about the 457 visa, and I'm not 100% certain about that. I am actually, I don't know, so I'm not even going to guess at this point in time. I want you guys to all have absolutely nailed down this is official communication. So I will find out about 457 visas. I'll find out about the working holiday visas, and anything else that you turn around and ask, and we will make sure that it is 100% accurate. All right. In the presentation that we had yesterday from the DPO, you could tell just how much complexity there is in all of these things. We like to think that, everyone does it our way, but I can promise you there are more ways to slice and dice things than there are knives that exist in the world. And there are so many unique situations. As soon as we've got clarity and absolutely confident information to give you, we will turn around and give it to you. All right. So, couple of things. If you've got questions, I encourage you to email them through to our support@jobbag.com email address. Make sure you put JobKeeper in the subject so that we can find and see them easily and quickly. We'll get the answers and we'll be putting them back not only to you, but we will be putting them into a public forum so that everybody can see and benefit from this stuff. I'm just going to have a very quick look at some of the questions that have come up so far and see if there's anything that I can do. Okay. Sharon McNamara Yule has asked if an employee has part of their role made redundant, by duties changed and the role is reduced from 4 days a week to 2 days a week. The number of days they work is actually irrelevant. What is relevant is what do they earn per week or per fortnight? Because if your business qualifies for the subsidy, it always boils down to, do they earn less than $1,500 per fortnight or pro rata? If they do, you will be paying them that $1,500 and getting the subsidy back from the ATO. That's the only thing. It doesn't matter how many days, it is an absolute how much are they earning. Using my example and what you've outlined, if their 2 days a week meant that they were earning $1,120, then you would be paying them $1,500 with a $380 JobKeeper top-up subsidy, and you would get that back from the ATO when you lodge your monthly return. No. Is there a set period for comparison of billing? No. But the minimum that they have stipulated so far is at least a 1 month comparison. So for argument's sake, my billings in March were, in March 2019, were $2 million. My billings in March 2020 were $1.3 million. Well, you definitely qualify because you have lost more than 30% of your billings. So the minimum criteria is 1 month. It may be more useful to do it over a longer period of time. And stay tuned for whether or not it can also be about expected billings, because in our industry, so much of this is predicated on our clients. For example, we've got a retainer with a client or with a whole bunch of clients. They've just told us that they're cutting all of this back. They need to cut everything back. So we're expecting you to get 10 grand a month from these guys, and they're now only going to pay us 2 grand a month. If you've got all of your clients doing that to you, that's about your forecast billings, and my clear expectation is this, that you will be able to say, hey, I can see that we're not going to get the billings from our client, and therefore we will qualify. So I believe that's going to happen, but it is not official yet. So just stay tuned to clarification, but that's how I think it is going to go. Elsa has asked, so for those who are over $1,500, the benefits go to the employer? Absolutely. This is a subsidy to ensure that you are paying your people in full, or as much as you possibly can, because the more you pay your people, the more resilient the economy is. They still have to be able to buy food and look after their family or whoever it may be. So this is designed to keep the money in the economy and keep everything moving. All right. So when you say the benefits go to the employer, I don't know so much that it's the benefits that, I guess, yes, the benefits do go to the employer, but the employer is actually getting that so that they can keep paying 100% to their employee. But where do you suggest we book the credit side of the cash receipt from the government? You'll be doing that using, we'll show you how to do all of that in JobBag. When you receive that money, you'll be, if you follow our suggestion, you'll be netting it off to you'll have the JobKeeper subsidy as a separate expense account in your P&L, and you will also net off the receipt of the subsidy back to that, so you can see, have we got a zero-sum game in your subsidy account? And you absolutely should. Not from month to month, because you'll have April as this is how much we've paid out in subsidy, and in May you'll be reimbursed for that. But by the time you get to the end of this, you will have a zero-sum game in your subsidy account. But I'll show you that in a real-life example a little bit further down the track. So thank you, Todd. There you go. That's they're the questions so far. Now, the other thing is that we're going to turn around and do is we're going to do regular sessions on how to do things in JobBag. In that email, and I don't know if she's here, I think she was going to join, and I'm not going to embarrass her by saying hi. But in that email that was sent out, there was a mention of a client who had really fully embraced everything that we are doing in JobBag, and that was her open and honest feedback of just how well they are going as a result of doing and utilizing the features that we have got. We want to try and make this whole thing as easy as possible, and if there are things that we can do to make using JobBag and your use of JobBag really benefit your business, we want to turn around and do it. So my intention is to have sessions like this at a very minimum once a week. So we're going to have one on Friday afternoon at I think it's 1:30, but we'll tell you about that shortly. If there is enough demand, or if you have questions that or things that you really want to know, how do we go about doing that? I'd like to do that in a public forum so that everybody can see and learn from what everyone else is doing. I really want this to be that we have the ability to learn and thrive in this situation, not just survive, but absolutely thrive, and really take advantage of the fact that we now have to find new ways of working and really make this work. We have got all sorts of great things that you can turn around and do, and if they're appropriate for your business, I want you guys to learn how to do it. So that's what we're going to turn around and do. Okay, we've been going for 30 minutes. I didn't want this to be too extended. So unless you've got any other questions at this point in time, nobody's posted anything else yet, I will turn around and say thank you very much. I hope things are going as well as possible for you. I wish that this was an April Fool's thing, but unfortunately it's not. You know, you're all really important to us, right? Well, you are, and we want us as well to survive and thrive in this situation. I want to assure you that the whole team here is really working incredibly hard. To look after you and to ensure that we're giving you the best we can. All right. So thank you. Take care. Send us your questions. Reach out in any way that you need, and we will always do our best to help you as much as we possibly can. Thanks, everyone. Take care.